Good morning. Good morning. Uh, Guys, we got public.com on here today, and they're a brokerage. They're getting into the trading options business, and they got a really, really good deal for you guys. You get no commissions, and you get money back. Isn't that interesting? So if you do 10 contracts, you get 18 cents a contract back, so you get $1.80 back. And then when you sell it, you get $1.80 back. So very, very interesting, unique concept. We're working with them, okay? And we got a thing going on in Vegas here pretty soon. So very, very interesting. Today, SMCI, real quick, just run through this. SMCI did another offering that doesn't make any sense. They're doing a second offering. They're diluting the stock. That's not so good. SPX way, way, way lower. We bought some puts here just a few minutes ago. Just because the last two times the VIX collapsed, it really, really collapsed. Okay? So with that, let's get going. Let's get Stephen. Stephen is from Public, and he's going to talk a little bit about stuff that he's seeing. Now, remember, from the brokerage side, he sees stuff. He sees orders, etc., and he has some information on what they're saying. So this should be really good stuff. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
I appreciate you having me, and Sam, I appreciate giving the quick plug on Public. More broadly, let me give 2 minutes on just, hey, what are we doing? So we launched our options trading platform about 2 months ago. Long calls, long puts, just getting started in this space, starting to build our reputation. We did it around this idea of a rebate, which is going to continue. And if you open your account before the end of March, we're going to give you that same rebate as a lifetime sort of benefit associated with your account. In the future, we might reduce sort of this options rebate rate, et cetera. So there is some urgency to getting your account opened and options enabled. It doesn't mean you have to start trading with us immediately, but a good reason to get started. The other couple things I'll highlight: we are going to roll out, covered calls, cash secured puts in the next week or so, and then we've got the full multi-leg offering sort of coming, ideally in the next month or two. We're working on it actively. The last thing I'll plug for us, if there's anything you need, I pride myself on being available. One of my jobs as COO at Public is running customer support. And so I, try to be on the front lines as much as possible, particularly as we roll out new products like options. So if there's anything you guys want to see, anything you want to know, obviously Sam's been super helpful in giving his feedback on the platform, and we take that into a great degree of consideration. But I'm an easy guy to reach. You can always ask for me directly from the customer support team. Reach out to me on Reddit, Twitter, wherever you find me. I'm happy to jump into a dialogue and figure out how we can help. In that vein, one of the things I wanted to come and talk about a little bit are some of the trends we've seen just in the last few weeks on options trading on Public. I'm a little limited, just from a compliance perspective, like, hey, can I talk about individual names, et cetera? I'll give you a little bit there, but I wanted to talk more broadly about sort of some of the trends. So I went and I pulled some data this morning, looked at the last couple of weeks of trading. And again, like I said, we're a long call, long put shop right now, but I think that gives us a pretty good angle on sort of overall retail bullish bearishness. And I think the overall message in the data that we've seen is that in general, we see a market right now that's pretty bullish from a retail perspective. We're seeing between 70 and 80% of dollar volume and really contract volume, it doesn't matter, sort of on the bullish sort of buy call side, right? If we look at the buy put side, again, that's going to be the inverse of that, sort of, call it 30-ish% of the dollar volume. So we're definitely bullishly tinted as a market, especially among the options trading community that we've built in Public. I don't know if that's any surprise, right? I think we've seen some of the animal spirits start to come back within the retail segment. We've seen a lot of retail names rallying. We've seen crypto rallying over the last few weeks, so I'm not surprised. The one thing I will highlight is starting this week, and even probably the tail end of last week, we did start to see that bullishness fall, right? So we'd been sort of in the low 70% bullishness, into the high 60s last week. And actually yesterday was probably the most bearish day we've had in 2 or 3 weeks. So I think we are starting to see some of this, micro rally start to top out of it. And I think, again, we're seeing a lot of red on the board today across, again, the full market and crypto, which is interesting. The last thing I'll say, though, is the one exception to that, I looked through a bunch of the most traded sort of underlying names in the options business. And obviously among the top of that list is NVIDIA. And I know Sam likes to talk about it a lot. NVIDIA has been the exception to that rule. Again, we've seen bullishness continue throughout, in the order of 90+%, but call to put ratio. And that's been interesting. That persisted even as we've seen sort of the broader market tail off into bearishness over the last few days. NVIDIA is as strong as it's been, at least on the public platform. So that's, I think, the couple things I've prepared. I want to leave plenty of time for Sam to give his thoughts. If you have any other questions, I think we might do this more frequently. So if there's specific names, specific data, et cetera, that you're interested in hearing more about, definitely drop a line. Let Sam know, let myself know, and we'll try and keep you all informed with what we're seeing.
Stephen, just a couple quick questions here.
Sure.
So, from the legal standpoint, you're allowed to tell us, like if I was going to ask you, what are the 5 biggest names that people are trading on public? You're allowed to give us that information, just the names, like NVIDIA is one, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I could pull the data there, and I can give you sort of my offhanded view. And again, we could break it by equities and options and so on. But yeah, it wouldn't be a surprise that NVIDIA is very high up there, SMCI very high up there. We see quite a lot of volume in Tesla as well. I think those are sort of the 3 biggest names, and then after that, actually, it's probably the aggregate of the Bitcoin ETFs from an equities only perspective. Obviously, not options on those instruments yet, but seeing very high volume sort of across those 4 categories. Very
nice. Thank you. Guys, this is public.com. They got a really good deal for you, so if you want to go look at that, very, very interesting. Okay, let's get going here. So, good morning, everybody. It's 3:19. Stocks go up, stocks go down. We say this all the time, and right now, remember VIX expiration. Now, we told you this last Friday, a week ago Friday, and we caught a 1 to 15, and it actually went 1 to 30 on SPX. We told you it was going to go down. The last 2 VIX expirations have been massively down. Okay, so VIX expires tomorrow morning. It's been massively down, and it's happening again today. So we bought some puts here. They're already at $4. We bought them at 3. They're at 4. So keep an eye here. Now, NVIDIA, very, very good news yesterday. People don't understand this news. Their new chip, Blackwell, is going to be 4 times as fast. So in theory, if you have a box right now with 4 of their other chips, you could get 1 box. Now that in itself is a little bit of a negative, right? Because you're buying 1 box instead of 4. So instead of spending $40,000 per chip and having 4 in there, you're spending $60,000 to having 1. But the demand is so massive they can't meet it. Okay. Now it also means that every single place is going to have to upgrade. Okay, so that's tremendously bullish. Okay, and everybody is using this. So it doesn't matter if it goes down. You have a number on NVIDIA at 826. That's what the day that it had earnings on that Wednesday. Thursday it went up. Friday it went to 826 and it reversed. And Thursday went to 826 and it reversed. When it reversed, it went all the way back down to 760. So your number 826 underneath that really craters it. Okay, it just craters it. Now it can bounce there too, so just keep an eye on that. Okay, so very, very interesting. The market itself, you got Powell tomorrow. So you got the VIX today and you got Powell tomorrow. Very conceivable we crater here, which would be nice, and then we come back up into Powell. Now, what is Powell going to say? Now, I don't think he's going to, he's not going to cut rates. We know that. But doesn't mean he doesn't slow down the balance sheet runoff. And if he does that, that's very bullish, and we will rock it all the way to 5,200, maybe 5,250, if he were to do that. Probably 10% chance of that, so we'll keep an eye on that. That's very, very interesting. SMCI is doing an offering. That doesn't really make sense. It's a second offering, so just keep an eye on that. Bitcoin is cratering today. It was at 62.5. It just popped 1,000 to 63.5, so a little bit better there. MicroStrategy down in another 170. Remember, the MicroStrategy options are kind of stupid priced. We just say it like it is, stupid priced. I mean, when we bought them, and I keep telling you this because you guys got to remember this. It's very important. 3 weeks ago, we bought MicroStrategy, the 800 calls. The stock was at 720. We bought them at 9. So 80 points out of the money were 9. Now you go look, and 300 points out of the money are 50. So he's just jacked premiums up because he doesn't know what's going to happen and he's trying to take it higher. That's it. And then we see. So today you want to see Bitcoin pop back. If Bitcoin gets back to 66K, watch out. It may have bottomed and can rip right back up. That would take, and it could coincide with the SPX bottoming way under. Under 5,100 is bad. Probably goes to 50, 80, and 50, 51. Has not been able to break 50, 50. Any break of 50, 50 would be kind of ugly. Okay, so just keep an eye on that. Avago, we told you, 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, this is a study that Wall Street never did, but I did it. It's a 2-year study. I did it. And everything that has earnings just doesn't go up afterward, guys. It does. If it misses on earnings and it goes down, it doesn't go up. It goes down. So Avago continue to go down. Like it about 1150-ish, we'll take a look at it and see what happens there, okay? But right now it's heading lower. No reason to be a hero. Don't buy these things when they're going down. You need some kind of move higher, okay? NVIDIA, the news is great. It's great. It's heading lower. At some point, underneath 851 would be bad. Through 882 would be very, very bullish today if it were to get through 882, okay? That's what you need to know. ASML, now, if you're going to make an NVIDIA chip, you need to buy ASML because ASML makes a machine that makes the NVIDIA chip. Pretty straightforward, right? Pretty straightforward. Their backlog was massive. They're supposed to be $3 billion. They came in at $10 billion. So keep an eye on ASML. If it pops back through 952, you have 972, and then all the way up to 1,000 and 1,052. Okay, Lam Research, if you're making and selling these new boxes, you need more memory. If you need more memory, that's Lam Research. Very straightforward. Now, Micron reports tomorrow. If Micron news is good and they say huge demand for memory, Lam Research is going to fly. It's going to fly. Okay, if they come out and say, well, we're seeing a slowdown or not so much, then not so good. Okay, Carvana 81, 86, 92, Eli Lilly 772, 791 underneath 731, Goldman Sachs 388, 398, Accelerator underneath 381. Now, if he slows down the balance sheet runoff, they're going to move Goldman Sachs. If he says, we're just going to keep raising rates, blah, 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 no cuts, Goldman Sachs will go lower. Okay, Pan W doing nothing, 277. Google, so you need the news on Google that Apple and them really are coming into a deal. Or is this just something that somebody put out there and then we see SPX just popped 6, guys. So just keep an eye on that. So Google, 142 down, 153 up. Apple, nice move yesterday, and it came back down, 176, 181. AMD down 7. If they're going to sell NVIDIA, they're going to sell AMD. AMD can't compete. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. Now, doesn't mean it doesn't go up. It just means if you're going to sell NVIDIA, you're going to sell AMD. Pretty straightforward. If they buy NVIDIA, they're going to come back and buy AMD. Okay? Coin, down a lot on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin gets back through 66,000, it'll pop back up. Then we see. Remember, if he cuts or the balance sheet runoff, if he says balance sheet runoff yesterday, we're slowing it down, then Bitcoin will pop. It'll pop heavy. Okay, so that makes coin better. Meta hit 497 back down yesterday. Watch it early. This one may go popping right back up. SMCI down 100. You got 882, 871, 821 on the downside. Upside, you got 1,000, 1,006. NOW, the news is good on NOW. See if he gaps this one down and then up at the open. Microsoft just sitting there doing nothing. Tesla, nice day yesterday. Best day it's had in a long time. Under 169, 166. First set of good news on Tesla in 3 months. They're raising prices a little bit. Doesn't mean it's good, just means it's better. Okay? So that's what we know. SPX, Watch this, guys. This is all about this VIX expiration. Just like last week, we told you it was about SPX roll and the quarterly expiration. Okay, so that's what's going on there, and that's what we know. That's what we know. Okay, everybody have a great trading day. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it. We'll get Stephen on here and get some info from the brokerages. We'll try to do this many times, so it's very good information on what people are trading and what they're seeing. So very good. Thank you again. Everybody have a great trading day. See you in chat.